Hello, our focus for today is learning about volume. We're going to start with our warm-up. Today's date is 3/24/2020. Our warm-up today is to practice calculating the All right, it is now time to check our work. So when we calculate the area, again, that's talking about the space that is inside the shape. So for the area, we're multiplying width times height. The thing that's tricky about these problems is that I included mixed numbers. So when you do 3 times 3.5, the first step is that you can turn 3.5 into an improper fraction. So I did 2 times 3 gives me 6, plus 1 gives me 7 to get 7/2. I can then multiply. I make 3 into 3/1, and then I multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. You can leave your answer in this form as an improper fraction, or you can change it back into a mixed number. The way you change it back into a mixed number is you think, how many times does 2 go into 21? It goes in 10 full times with 1 left over. The next one, again, we're multiplying width times height. I need to change my mixed number into an improper fraction. So I do 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So I have 9/2. When I multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. I get 18/2. If I want to change that back, then I can do how many times does 2 go into 18, and it goes in 9 full times with none left over. Today our vocab word is volume. So the volume is something that helps us calculate the space inside an object. So for example, if you're filling a carton of milk, it'd be the space that the milk fills. If you're pouring a cup of water, it's the space the water fills inside your cup. If you have a box, so for example like a box of tissue, it'd be the space that the tissue fills. So we're going to start by thinking about this with a puzzle. Our puzzle is on the screen. So our puzzle says estimate how many erasers are in the cup.
Guys, how you guys doing? I hope you guys are being safe. You staying at home, taking care of your health. I see you guys are doing volume, which consists of cooking as well. My estimation on the project right now, I think it's about 40, but it does take a little bit of time, and you just have to do your math. Wait it out. Don't rush it. It's fun. That's why I enjoy cooking. I work with volumes a lot. So, yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful time playing with this project. If you have any questions, I'm pretty sure Miss Roberts is going to be there for you. I miss you guys. Hopefully, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. So, go MLK.
Yep. All right, let's see how close you were and how close George was. Ooh, 39 objects. So there's 39 erasers in the cup. We'll continue doing some puzzles like this tomorrow. But again, this is helping us start to think about volume as the space inside an object. I encourage you to also think about what volume means for the story problem that we started yesterday. All right, now it is time for us to return to the story problem from the video posted yesterday. Please take a moment to review the story problem. And if you have not done the story problem yet on your own, please pause this video now and do your best to start on the story problem. When we go over the answers, they're going to make a lot more sense if you've had a chance to actually do the work on your own first. Also, I just want to point out that in this story problem, the amount of milk that's inside each of the jugs of milk or the cartons is representing the volume. So we're starting to think about volume even if we're not using that word yet. All right, we're going to take a chance now to look at what we saw in the last video. So this is where we left off. I was asking you to make a prediction of how many of these little squares you think can fit into this. And this was just an estimation, kind of like the erasers earlier today. I'm now going to give you some additional information so you can start to do the math for this problem. So the additional information that I'm giving you is that each of the small squares is representing 250 milliliters. And then also that each of the big squares is representing 4 liters. So now please pause the video and update your prediction from yesterday. So we're updating the prediction using the numbers that we now have. This is how I set up the problem. So I recorded the information I knew, which is that there's 6 jugs. Each jug is 4 liters. So I wrote down 4 liters 6 times, and then I zoomed in on one of those. So if I have 4 liters, I can break it up into 4 groups of 1 liter, and each 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. So there's 4 groups of 250 milliliters per 1 liter. Because for each of these, it'd be 4 times 250 milliliters equals 1,000 milliliters. So my next step is to think how many cartons there would be. So if there's 4 per 1 liter, and then there's 4 groups of that gets 16 cartons per one of these boxes. That's 4 liters. So my last step is to multiply. I have 3 times, I'm sorry, I was looking at this. I have 6 times 16 because there's 16 here, and then there was 6 groups of those. So I have 6 times 16, and that gets me 96. So my final answer was that there's 96 cartons. There's a cool animation that I can show you that links a bunch of different ways of showing your work together. So we're starting off with the original story problem. And once again, we're recognizing that there's 6 jugs of milk. That's the first information that we have. Those are all getting poured into one container. Each jug contains 4 liters of milk. And then we know that we're filling cartons, and each carton is 250 milliliters. So there's 4 of those per 1,000. Then we're filling in each of the different sections so we can see it slowly filling up. We can also use the same idea to make a number line. So we can actually see those groups happening. So for every 1 liter of milk, there's 4 cartons. So knowing that, then we keep on counting up by 1 on the top, keep on counting up by 4 along the bottom of our number line. So again, for every time we have 4 liters of milk, that's 16 cartons. So we can use that to observe these different patterns. We're going to take a moment to think about a few different ways of showing our work. So in the video, you saw this number line. And again, the most important thing to think of when we're starting this is that initial information, 6 jugs of milk, and there's 4 liters per jug. So again, when we have 4 liters of milk, that's 16 cartons. And so then we can see if I do this top number times 6, that gets me 24. So I have to do the same thing on the bottom. 16 times 6 gives us that 96. And that was the same thing that you saw me doing at the end on my work, was the 16 times 6. We can also show our work using a table. And it's the same kind of thing where we're able to see this pattern filling in. So every time we have 4 liters of milk, that's equal to 16 cartons of milk. And we can observe if we multiply one side times 6, we need to do the same thing on the other. The cool thing with the table is that we can also see a pattern of each time this number times 4 gives us this number, and we can use that to help fill in our table as well. My next challenge for you is to think about how we can show our work in many different ways in math, and attempt doing this story problem on your own. The big challenge here is to show your answer using at least 2 different methods. So our story problem says, Miss Roberts is trying to drink more water to stay healthy. She heard you're supposed to drink 64 ounces of water per day. I have a cup that holds 8 ounces of water, so I'm trying to figure out how many cups I need to drink per day. So show your answer using at least 2 different methods. And when you've done that, please post your work. We want to continue learning from each other even when we're not in the classroom. So I encourage you to post a picture showing how you solve this problem on our Google Classroom site. As always, please reach out if you have questions, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.